Hey, what's up guys? Today in this video, we are going to talk about a new SaaS platform which is called Flagsmith. The basic idea of this platform is that you are able to create feature flags in your application and then you are able to control those feature flags using the service. So the service basically gives you feature flag and remote config service, and it is quite interesting because if you would look at the actual use case, let's say you have a SaaS platform where you want to do some kind of an A/B testing, or you want to test out when your feature is being used by the users at the maximum, or you want to disable it and enable it from time to time. This is really a very good solution to work with. Personally, we have been doing this on quite a few projects where, although we haven't used this service, but we give the configuration admin options for clients to switch on and switch off their services. But yes, this is a very nice way because it also allows you to maintain features on certain environments. For example, you can enable something on staging and check, whereas it is still off in your production environment, so on and so forth. So I think generally it's a very popular product and you can check the features, but what really interested me is this feature flag business, and that's why I decided to use this. I'll be showing you how this works in a Nest.js application. Again, I would like to tell you that this is not a sponsored video. I was reading blog articles and I came across this platform and I decided to try it out, and when I was trying it out, I felt that yes, this is something I need to share. So yeah, let's get started. So the first things first is obviously I will need to install Nest.js. I already have Nest.js CLI on my machine. So what I will do is I'll create a new project. Obviously, if you don't have that, you can install that globally, and I will do this over here. So feature flag is my project name. When I do that, it will start the scaffolding and it will first ask me what is my preferred package manager. Now, in my case, I'll be using NPM, so I am not going to use any other options. I'll just hit enter and it will start the installation process. In the meantime, I have created an account on Flagsmith using my Google account. You can use Google or GitHub. Okay, but what we will do is let's go into the app side of things. Basically, when you log in, you'll see this. Yes, I know this is fine. I'll go to the homepage again. This is coming up because I don't have a project. I deleted the old one, which I was trying out. Okay. So yeah, great. You can now create your first project. Let's create a new project and I'll say, yes, YouTube Live. Creating the project. And now you can see I have two environments in here and I can add more. What environment allows you to do is what I told you, right? If you want to try out something on the staging, but you still don't want it to be on production, you can do that. And the other way around as well, obviously. So, it is allowing you to have configurations which are specific to certain environments. Let's create one feature. We will name it fetch blog. Okay, enable by default. Yes, let's do that. And I haven't added any description as such, but yes, this is now on. We have done only till this far. And what is the feature? Let's just say what I will do is JSON placeholder API. Go to this fake JSON website and let me go down a bit. The users in here, what I want to do is, let's say if the feature is on, I will send this as a response as well. But if the feature is off, I will not send that. As simple as that, because we are now only trying to capture the core things, the core functionality, nothing else. Okay. So let's see, where are we? Okay, the application, the scaffolding is done. So let's go inside rm/rf.get, or let it be actually git log. I think nothing will be there. Right. So code dot, which will open up the code base inside my Visual Studio Code. The first thing which I will do is go into the prettier RC, and before I do anything, let it also run the TS stuff, but I'll have tab width as 2, use tab false. So basically it will be using spaces instead of tabs. These are the two settings which I always add in so that I don't have any problem. Okay. Now, what do we want to do? We need obviously to have this response through Axios. So I will need to install Axios, npm-i save Axios. Let's just do that. While this is happening, what I will try to do is see the app controller has the route, which is the get hello route, and it is calling the app service. Okay, why don't we go inside that service file? It's taking some time to do the initialization. So app service, let's go inside that file. Correct. So we need to call the JSON fake API to get this thing, correct? How do we do that? Get, let's say the name of the function is get user list. Okay, this is something which will now, is Axios installed? I think so. It is complaining about unsupported engine, but I think it is added one package. So yes, this is done. I need to run the application. So npm run, I think it's start dev. If you have any problem, if you're not able to remember what it is, you can always go inside the package.json and inside scripts. Yes, so start and then start watch will be dev. So that's what we want to do. So this is fine. Let it run. I have nothing over here. So constant response equals await Axios dot get nothing. No, something is wrong. It should have detected Axios. Is Axios not installed? Package.json. Let me see dependencies. Axios is installed. So why is it not doing that? Import Axios from Axios, that's done. Okay, now it is happening. I don't know why it was not detecting earlier, but that's fine. The end result is here, so no need to worry about it. This is the URL, obviously, because there's an await. I'll need to make this function an async function. Okay, and then I have the response. What we need to return is response.data. Okay, I can check for the status codes and stuff, but that's not really the scope of this tutorial. But ideally you should do that because you are making an API call to a third-party service, so there are complete chances that it can fail. So ideally this should be inside a try catch, but for the sake of it, let's just say it's as is. Okay, and then we inside the controller we already have the app service as a dependency, right? So we can do constant users equals this dot app service dot get user list. That's the function that we just created. Now obviously, because this is an await, async function, I'll have to do await, and hence it becomes an async function. The controller will now complain that it needs to be a promise. So string. Okay, quickly, what are we doing over here? So initially we were just returning a string which was appservice.getHello. If you go to the service file, you will see that this is just returning hello world. So nothing major was happening over there. But then what I did was I made this call to this function inside the app service, which is get user list, which is an async function, right? We just created this. So it's an async function which does an API call using Axios, and what is the data is being returned. So over here, I'm getting that. And because it is await, I have to make this an async function. And hence, it's expecting a promise, and then inside the promise, we are expecting a string. Anyways, so yes, my application is running, which will mean I don't need that tab actually. Localhost 3000. Hello world is getting printed, which is fine. I will now do a console.log users, like so, and I need to refresh. Inside the console, I'm getting those user lists, right? Now, how is this a feature? So let's just say what we are willing to do is we will use this SDK, and using that SDK, we will be detecting whether the feature is enabled or not, and then make that service call to fetch that data. Okay, but before that, this is string, right? We need to change the format a bit. So it's a promise. What does it return? It returns an array actually, but let me see. Response is access response any. Okay, so I don't need to do anything over here. I will say this is a promise. Again, this type hintings are not necessary as per se, but I do that because it helps understand stuff. Like when I'm trying to understand what is coming from the Axios response, you can see I get a hinting that okay, it's an Axios response, it's a type of Axios response that will come to me. So if there is any behavior attached to it, I will easily know. Okay, now this is there, and the return thing will be what? Let's just say constant response is an array. Okay, and it will send the users and this. Okay, now it will complain that it needs to be array, and then it has to be any. Okay, right now I'm doing this as an any because I don't know the shape of the response. Okay, right. Let's keep some gap. By the way, I hope you are able to see. If not, maybe I will just I will increase the font size a bit. Make this 17. Okay, fair enough. So what do we have in here? User response, and then this is the array which we are sending. That's nice. Let's see what happens to our response inside the browser. Right, we have this. That's nice. So what's the next step? We want to only send this if the feature is enabled, right? So we first of all we would need to install this package, npm install Flagsmith nodejs. Oops. I'll just do enter and remove this. The Notion app, right? I typically use the browser-based thing instead of the desktop. It seems to be a little slow compared to the browser version. So yeah. Okay, the package is installed. Now let's look at the documentation for this package. What do we have in here? How do we get this to work? Okay. Node.js installation is done. So it does constant Flagsmith equals require this. In it, I have an environment key. Okay, so when we have an environment key, obviously we cannot hardcode that in our code base. So why don't we do one thing? I'll do configuration. Basically, my idea is that this particular key, right, which is there in the environment variable, this should come from my .env file. Okay, so configuration. I don't think this is the one. Yeah. Yes, this is the one. So I already know how things work. So basically what you have to do is, first of all, install this. So while this is installing, I'll tell you what happens. So the configuration service is something which is available when we install this package. What next? Nest.js tells you to do is use this configuration service to get the environment variables through the configuration service, and not by directly using something like the .env package or something. Okay, it's a wrapper on top of that, but yes, the idea is that you should be using that package to get that data. So the package is installed. Now what's the installation process? I know it's pretty straightforward. What we need to do is, inside the app module, we need to just say config module for root. Okay, and on top of that, because we will be using it globally, there is this documentation which says that I should pass a flag is global true. So why don't we do that? Inside app module, inside import, I import the config service for, is it service or the root? Okay, it's not the service but the module, sorry, for root. Yeah, because I was not getting the function right, I immediately understood that something is wrong. Okay, so config module for root, and right, we have this in place. I think that's the only thing which we need to do. Once we have this in place, right, obviously we need the .env file, because that's where the config service will look for any key. So obviously we need a key now. Project settings. Inside project settings, I should have some way. Okay, this is the key for my development. I think the production will have a different one. Yes, this is 7CE and this is X2. Right, so from the key it basically understands. So what we will do is Flagsmith API key equals this, and this is our key. So let's just go into our app service. The app service will be using this configuration. So first of all, let's do a dependency injection of the configuration service. So config service of type config service. Once that is done, I have this as a variable, which will mean okay, ideally speaking, nest g service and then Flagsmith. I think this is a better approach. There's a service for Flagsmith which I will be using. So the initialization of that Flagsmith module can be done over there. So I don't need to inject that. What must have happened is app.module is already providing Flagsmith service as provide thing. Okay, in here I'll need to inject the config service. So config service like so. No, not inside the controller constructor, sorry. Get get flag value. Okay, something like that, or get value, get key value, get key. Actually these are all keys, right? So get is fine. I think get value is fine. Thinking too much. I'm expecting the key which is of type string. And now before we hit this, as we saw in the documentation, right, we need to initialize it. So first let's get thing constant Flagsmith. Inside the constructor, we'll do flagsmith dot init. Okay, and I need the environment key, right? So why don't we do this dot config service dot get. I'll type hint that was string. Inside here I have this key equals, and that's about it, right? Okay, environment ID, my bad. That's what I was thinking. It should expect something. All right, and after that I have Flagsmith has feature header. Okay, and because there's then, it means that it's kind of an, I'll do return await. I can do that. That's my understanding. So I'll make this async. Right, and this will not be header. This will be key. Okay. Fine. With this done, what have we done so far? So basically, this is our Flagsmith service. Flagsmith service is injecting the configuration service. That configuration service is allowing us to fetch the key from the env file. With that done, we do the initialization. Okay, and then we are able to use flagsmith.has feature to see whether it is there or not. And this is going to be again an any, so that's fine. I'm not sure if Flagsmith has a type definition for it, but let's keep it as is for now. And inside here, the service needs to detect whether the configuration is available or not, right? So we will inject the Flagsmith service, private Flagsmith, that will be Flagsmith service like this, and let's do a console of this dot flagsmith service dot get value. And what is the name of our feature flag? Features fetch blog, correct? So we just do this. Let's see what's coming up. Code is compiled. Okay, promise pending. Right, that's because I haven't done an await over here. That's the most common problem with my nodejs development, which is I forget the await and then I wonder what happened. So right now it is true, which means the feature flag is on. And then if I disable it, okay, and then if I refresh, this is false, which means this is a binary, right? If this is true, I will do something like this, or rather I can do if not this, I'll return an empty array. Okay, otherwise I go through the entire route, because if it is true, then this is what is going to happen. And then let's refresh. We don't have this array, which is perfectly fine. And now if I switch it on, confirm changes, yes, refresh, and we have our thing ready. So this way, as you can see, you can control the behavior of your application just by toggling things out, right? And this is for different environments. So which means, let's just say the same application, if I'm running on localhost 4000 for some reason, and if that is running as production, or I pass the key inside the setting, right? If I pass this particular key, it will detect it as the production environment, and then we are free to change the feature on production and development independently. So yes, that's about it. That's what I wanted to cover in this video. I feel this is a very interesting thing. I will be using this as a service for some of my projects, my personal projects which I work on. And yeah, do let me know what are your thoughts about it. There are definitely more features to this service than what I have shown you. There are segments and stuff which I haven't touched as of now. But yes, this is something which I found very interesting, and that's why I decided to do it using Node.js, which is a platform which I'm really looking forward to. I'm spending a lot of time doing Node development, and I thought, okay, why don't we do it in Node instead of Laravel? So yeah, thanks for thanks for watching, guys. If you like this video, do click on the thumbs up icon and don't forget to subscribe to my channel.